Judicial control can be understood in the context of two separate but parallel legal systems, civil law and common law, as well as in the context of two separate theories of democracy related to the need for the state to be organized according to the principles and doctrines of legislative supremacy and separation of powers. First, two separate legal systems, civil law and common law, have different views on judicial supervision. Common law judges are seen as sources of law that have the ability to create new principles of law and have the power to reject legal principles that are no longer valid. In the civil law tradition, judges are seen as those who enforce the law, without the power to create, or destroy, legal principles. Second, the view of separation of powers is another theory about how the government of a democratic society should be organized. Contrary to legal supremacy, the view of separation of powers was first put forward by Montesquieu. Later in the trial of John Marshall and Marbury v. It was institutionalized in the United States by a Supreme Court decision in Madison. The separation of powers is based on the idea that any branch of government should not be able to exercise power over any other branch without a fair legal process. Each branch of government must have control over the powers of the other branches of government. This creates a regulatory balance between all branches of decency. The key to this idea is checks and balances. In the United States, judicial oversight is seen as an important control over the powers of the other two branches of government through the judiciary. Differences in the organization of democratic communities led to differing views on judicial oversight. There were those who stressed that societies based on the common law basis and the separation of powers were most likely to benefit from judicial control. However, many countries where their legal systems are based on the idea of legal supremacy have learned about the possible dangers and limitations of transferring power only to the legislative branch of the estate. Many countries with a civil law system have adopted some form of judicial supervision to prevent the tyrannical rule of the majority. Judicial control both of two separate legal systems, civil law and common law, and two theories of the development of democracy, legislative rule and separation of powers, in the context of understanding another reason for countries to have judicial review of primary legislation, the common law system with some, it does not. Although a common law system exists in the United Kingdom, the country still has a strong bond with the idea of legislative supremacy. As such, judges in the UK do not have the power to breach primary legislation.